pulse up on screen when we need to talk, can't you?
Hi everyone, and welcome to our second Insights event. You're all very welcome. Delighted you could join me here today. My name is Podge. I am the marketing assistant for the Jameson International Graduate Programme, and today our Insights event is all about the application process and the steps for that. If you are still a bit unsure about the job or you want to know more about the role, we do have our first Insight session, which you can find on YouTube, or of course, as you'll see there, our social handles, Jameson Grad Programme, and we will direct you there for tons of content and information on the program, or of course our website, jamesongraduateprogramme.com. There will be a Q&A, so please be sure to type your questions in the live Q&A section, and we will go through that at the end with myself and a fellow brand ambassador as well. So here is the schedule for today. As you'll see, we're starting off with a brief introduction from myself. Then Gillian, who is on the grad team, will bring you to a quick mindfulness session, a grounding session. Then she'll go over the application overview, and then I will hand over to myself and Paula Phelan, who is our brand ambassador based out of Jakarta, Indonesia, who will be going through hints and tips on applying from current brand ambassadors and talking about our experience through the application process for the Jameson International Graduate Programme. Then finally, we'll end with our panel discussion where we will answer questions submitted from you guys. And finally, I will wrap up. Just in terms of the Q&A, you'll see there when you publish a question, you can all then like a question. So it might help filter through the most kind of popular questions. So be sure to write in your questions throughout the session, and then other people can like in terms of what questions they want to hear first. So before we start, a quick update as to why you should apply for the Jameson International Graduate Programme and why it benefits you. As you'll see there, we're the #1 in the FMCG category, the graduate employer for Grad Ireland since 2014. We're also in Ireland's top 10 graduate employers for Grad Ireland's top 100 too. And we're a very recognised graduate programme in the market. So it is of huge benefit to apply for our graduate programme. What is the programme? It's a 3-year rotational brand advocacy program offering graduates a unique global adventure in which they're empowered to concretely contribute to building a passionate brand while equipping themselves to succeed in their own next career. By brand advocacy program, what we mean there is you're building brand love and brand equity in the market that you are based out of. Before we get going as well, I don't know if you have, but we have released a podcast, the Jameson Graduate Programme podcast, and if you are interested in the program or you want to learn more about the different parts of the program, be it from career progression, what we mean by serious character, the role of the brand ambassador, training and development, all aspects of the graduate program, I would highly recommend you to listen to that. Today we actually have coming out with one of our next episode that comes out today is with our brand ambassador based out of Dubai, Shane Dempsey, and it's all about a work-life balance. It's a much kind of longer format to hear really in depth from first-hand experiences of brand ambassadors about every different aspect of the graduate program, as well as alumni too. So you can find that on any listening streaming service, or of course Spotify is where we direct you to first, and you can find that on our on our social handles or on our social pages. The link for the podcast is there too. So what are the key requirements to apply for the Jameson International Graduate Programme? Well, you see there we have 3 key requirements. #1 is the legal right to work in Ireland. #2 is a full clean driver's license. Cut-off date is the end of March 2021. And finally, that's serious character. So you will hear us always mention that we're looking for those with serious character. And what we mean by serious character to us, it's a personality trait. It's not a particular person. And what serious character is, it's someone who's the ability to work at a professional level, do the best job, go that extra mile, but have a bit of fun along the way as well. Now, I've mentioned what the program is, the brand advocacy program, but you're probably wondering what is the role of a brand ambassador, and I'll briefly go over the role of a brand ambassador. As I mentioned, if you want in more depth detail of the role of a brand ambassador, you can find that on our podcast. The first episode is actually the role of a brand ambassador with Kevin O'Neill, who is our brand ambassador based out of Sweden, or of course on our YouTube channel where we had the first Insights event and we had brand ambassadors go into detail as well as the role of a brand ambassador. So There are 6 key areas where a brand ambassador can add value. When building your brand plan, you will decide which of these areas should be the main focus for your brand ambassador. Relevant areas can be dialed up or down depending on the brand's stage of development in your market. So you'll see the 6 key areas there are brand education, brand activation, influencer marketing, digital, share of mind, and insights. While all the brand ambassadors will be pulling out of these 6 key pillars, as mentioned there, each market is very, very different. So where you'll be putting more focus on depends on where you were based as well. Finally, I would just quickly like to mention that the applications close on Wednesday, the 1st of February. So that is the 21st of this month at 1 p.m. So hopefully you've started your application. If not, I would definitely urge you to get started, as you'll see the closing date will catch up on you. So I'm going to quickly hand you over to Jill now, who is going to take you to a live mindfulness session.
Oh. Hi everyone, thank you Podge for that introduction. So my name is Gillian and I am the Marketing and Talent Specialist for the Jameson International Graduate Programme. So I look after the attraction campaign, so hopefully all of you will have seen ads pop up on your Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat. And then I also look after the recruitment side of things. So I will be screening the applications and also helping design the assessment centres as well. So before we get started today, I thought it would be really nice to take us through a grounding exercise. I think we can all agree that in today's world, we're sitting at our screens for longer periods than we would usually be used to. So I thought it'd be nice to take you through a quick body scan to help drop into our bodies, ground and center ourselves, and also help us focus for the next 50 minutes. So if you want to find yourself a comfortable seating position, you can sit in a chair, on the floor, whatever is comfortable to you. And sit up tall, uncross your legs and arms and place both on the floor, or put both your feet on the floor. Rest your palms on your legs. Now slowly just close your eyes and start to take deep cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Connecting with your breath by inhaling and exhaling. Continue with this breathing, letting go of any tension with your exhale. Bring your awareness to your toes. Relax them. Your calf muscles. Relax them. Your thigh muscles. Now relax your sit bones and begin to notice any tension you may have in your back. Breathe deeply in, and as you breathe out, slowly relax and release any tension. Now your shoulders. Lift them up and release them completely. Relax your neck and jaw muscles. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, let go of any tension you're holding in your neck and jaw. Take a few more deep breaths and enjoy this feeling of relaxation and calm for a little while longer. I'd like you to now slowly bring your attention back to the room, and when you're ready, open your eyes. I hope you're all feeling a little bit more relaxed and calmer and ready to focus for the next 45 minutes. And if you enjoyed this and wanted to explore it a bit further, there are some really nice guided meditation apps like Calm or Headspace or Insight Timer, if it's something you want to explore a little bit more. So next, I'm going to be taking you through the application process. So I'm sure a lot of you on this call will have already started your application, but for those of you that haven't, it's an online application and you can apply through our website, which is www.jamesongraduateprogramme.com. And our online application consists of two parts. So we have a written application and a video application. And it's important to note here that they are equally as important as each other, and they are weighted equally in terms of scoring as well. And as a screener, we always look at the written application first and then the video. So the analogy that we like to use is a book and a movie. So as we know, a book will always come out first and then the movie follows, and it kind of brings the book to life. So that's how we see the application process as well. So the application process, if you look at it there, the dashboard at a snapshot, it consists of 6 sections. So the first 5 sections relate to the written application. So here we're trying to see your experience and your skill set. So firstly, we ask you about your details. Then your education, history, past and present, your employment details, past and present, if that's applicable to you, your skills, so we will ask you if you have any languages, and then we will ask you for personal statement. So we will ask you about your achievements to date, and then also why you feel you're the best fit for the programme. And then lastly, we ask you to submit your 2-minute video application, and your video application should really reflect what is in your written application. And it's about showing us your personality and that serious character that we look for. So yeah, it's really about bringing that to life. So then on to the next slide. Just some of my tips for the videos. So some do's and don'ts. So do keep it to the 2-minute mark. To ensure fairness to all candidates, we will stop watching videos after 2 minutes. Make sure we can hear you. So test out your audio before you send in your videos and make sure that we can hear your messaging. I would say plan in advance. So plan out what you want to say, what points you want to get across. Also plan the location where you want to shoot, making sure that there's no background noise and that we can hear you properly. Then showcase your serious character. So show us how you're a creative, innovative self-starter. And then lastly, make sure to be yourself. We want to see you, we want to see your personality. So make sure you get that across in your video. And then some watch outs. So don't get intimidated by the production. So I know that there's a lot of videos out there on YouTube of candidates who've have posted their application video, and some of them may have had friends that work in a creative agency, or they themselves might have an interest in videography. What I will say is, it's more about your messaging, and that's important. And we really just want to see you and hear you. And some of the best videos or some of the best applications that we've gotten have been just somebody just talking into camera, but they're getting the right points across. Then another watch out is don't voice over the whole video. Again, we want to see your personality and we want to see you, so make sure that you're talking into the camera. And then don't make it a movie, so make sure to keep it clear and concise, and stick to that 2-minute mark. So then moving on to what's our selection process and with assessment centres. So we have 2 rounds of assessment centre, and this year they will be online, and the first round will take place the end of March. We're still finalising the design of the assessment centre, but if you are selected, you will get prep documents beforehand, so you'll know exactly what to expect. But in round 1, we are assessing candidates to see if they're the right fit for the company, the brand, and the role. So they're the 3 things that we're looking for. So yeah, if you have those 3 things, then you are a fit for the programme. Then moving on to the next slide there, yeah, perfect. So round 2 assessment centre will then take place in April, and at that point we know that you're a fit for the company, the brand, and the role. And at this point, we're trying to match candidates to whatever markets will be available. So that is at the beginning of April. Then you will hear from us by the end of June, whether you're successful or not. And then induction will start in mid-August. And then depending on the circumstances at the time, all things going well, you'll be going to market in September. So that's kind of just an overview of our selection process. I'm going to hand you over now to Paula and Podge, and they're going to take you through their experience of the application process and some tips for your video applications as well.
Thanks, Jill. I hope everyone can hear me. We've got some great questions coming in, so guys, please be sure to keep them up, and we'll get through them at the Q&A. So I am also joined by Paula. Paula, can you turn the mic on there? So
hey,
Paula will be on the screen in a second, but we're just going to go through, I suppose, our experiences of the application process. And quickly, for a quick introduction, as I mentioned, my name is Podge. I'm the marketing assistant for the Jameson International Graduate Programme, and I'm in my 2nd year of the programme, based out of the Dublin office up in Ballsbridge. I studied communications in GCU, and then I took 2 years out before applying for the Jameson International Graduate Programme. Paula, do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself?
Yeah, so hey everyone, my name is Paula Phelan, and like Podge mentioned earlier, I am over here in Indonesia, in Jakarta. So I am on my 2nd year of the programme as well. Me and Podge started together back in 2019, and I studied business with French in Waterford Institute of Technology. And like Podge, I took a few years out, I think 3 in total, worked in different jobs, and then knew the programme was something I really wanted, so went for it then.
And Paula, do you want to talk briefly on your, I suppose, the experience of the application process for you in terms of when you submitted your application?
Yeah, cool. So going for the application process was actually really enjoyable. I mean, like getting through and getting into assessment centres was really enjoyable. I think the main thing for me was kind of I'd worked in smaller companies and smaller businesses the whole way through. So it was really eye-opening to walk into like a global business as such, and to just see the size and everyone in it and the role that they play, and learning a little bit more about the company. I knew I really wanted the job, but learning a little bit more about the brand and the company was really, really exciting for me. And then obviously meeting everyone, you have that kind of buzz as well.
Yeah, I think how do I say myself right? No, I agree with you. It was something very different, and it was very enjoyable. I know that this year, the round 1 and round 2 were in person, but I think I suppose the whole mantra of Jameson and Permanent Card is conviviality and bringing people together. So while it will be virtual, we'll still kind of get that across this year as well. And you definitely took something away from it, and that was what was really important. And I think it's really important from the graduate program as well, is that you're getting something out of the round 1 and round 2 assessment centres. They're really fun, as Paula mentioned. We are on the same year of the program, so I believe that's where we first met, Paula.
Yes.
Actually, just one of the kind of requirements for assessment centres is if you do a 2-minute presentation for something you're passionate about, was for our first round anyways. And Paula, mine was on memes. What was yours, Paula?
The passionate one for first round was on radio. Loved radio. And then the second round one was the someone you admire, or business or company or brand that you admire. And I did Mrs. Hinch because she changed the face of cleaning.
And guys, again, if you have any questions for myself and Paula, please do pop them in. But Paula, I kind of want to take you back a bit further and talk about the application process in terms of the written and video application. What was that like for you?
Okay, so, well, firstly, when I first came out of college, the Jameson Graduate Programme was majorly on my mind. Loads of people were talking about it. I knew I liked to travel. I did Erasmus in college because I studied French. So I kind of got that taste for traveling a little bit, and I kind of thought it would be something for me. And I actually helped one of my friends do his video around the grounds of our college and in different places. And he was like, okay, now let's do yours. And I totally chickened out. So I know exactly how intimidating it can be. So I let that turn me off applying, honestly, for the first, when I initially came out of college. Like I said previously, I went on then to work for about 3 years, and I worked at a radio station called Beat 102 103. Some of you might know it if you're from the Southeast. So I did like lots of promotional work with them, a little bit of marketing, PR, and then I ended up on air as well. So I think the 3 years for me it gained me a lot of confidence, and it let me dabble in the marketing side of things and the promotional side of things. So when I kind of hit the point where I was like, okay, I kind of want to change it up a bit, I knew the Jameson Graduate Programme was something I really wanted then. I really wanted it. So when I decided to apply, you instantly think of the video first. Podge, you might be the same, but it is the kind of biggest part that plays on your mind. And like Gillian said, both have equal importance, but yeah, the video does jump out straight away. So you're kind of like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I had the same thought when I was coming out of college too. Like, you're coming out of college, you don't have much maybe work experience or life experience yet, maybe a couple of J1s or whatever, but you kind of just need to go back to the start. And this is exactly what I did. I took out a pen and paper and I went way back, like as in when I was involved in like running clubs when I was like 9 years old. I like went way back and just started writing down anything I've dabbled my hand in or got involved in, from like clubs to volunteering to societies to everything, and kind of just done like a spider diagram of like what have they taught me. You know, like from playing on a team, different things like discipline, teamwork, all that kind of stuff. Like, what have they taught me? How have they contributed to my serious character, like we always say? Or like, how have they added to who I am today? And that's the easiest way I can explain it. And that really helped me. It became way less daunting when I had all of this written down and I was like, oh, I actually have more than 2 minutes to say. So I started with the video, like I say most of you have, and then pieced the written together with all the experience and education and stuff like I had in my spider diagrams. And Podge, was it the same for you, or how did you find it?
Yeah, I think for me, certainly the video was the first thing that came to mind for me. I think I have an interest in content creation. So I suppose on the opposite side to you, Paula, I was like, yes. And that's something that I get to kind of showcase. But thankfully, at the time, actually, I had my mother who made me very aware that the written application, as we keep saying, is just as important because they read the written application first. A little tip for the written application that I found very helpful is I opened my account on the graduate program application process, but I actually copied and pasted all the questions into a Word document. And then I kind of went back and reviewed and edited and took it, you know, and just kind of amended it until I thought it was perfect. The reason for that was because when I first started the application and I was writing it out, the internet in my house went. As the team knows all too well, my internet back in Offaly is not great. But it cut out, and because it cut out, what I'd typed out had actually disappeared. So just to kind of avoid that, I know we're all into an online virtual world, and I'm sure you all have your kind of tips to make sure that you're fully prepared if anything goes wrong with the internet, because we're so reliant on it these days. But it just really helped me, and it just meant I could go back and tip in and out of the Word document whenever I thought of something or I want to edit something. And then for the video, yeah, the video, I will admit I actually went a little over in terms of timing, which is something that I think when we talk about it, it's, Emma Walsh gave a perfect example, and Paula, as you were saying, you're distilling it down. So if you're to do the video, you might have 4 or 5 minutes of content, but the video has to be 2 minutes long. As Jill mentioned, we will be, the people reviewing the applications will stop watching after 2 minutes in the interest of fairness. So the best way to do it is to distill the best parts of the video. If it's a 4-minute content, distill it down to 2 minutes, and then what you're going to have is 2 really good minutes. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I like content creation, but we do have a lot of videos on our YouTube channel of previously successful application videos, as well as I created a video last year of how to make your video application using iMovie. And the majority of us have iPhones or a MacBook, so that software comes free. If you don't, there's plenty of different online softwares that you can use or download in terms of to edit your videos. And we're not, I think when people go on to YouTube as well, you're thrown off by some of the videos that come up first. Like, I think if you type in Jameson Graduate Programme, the first one that comes up is myself, or potentially I think Pippa's maybe, and they come across quite well, very well done, but they are not the benchmark. At the end of the day, if you have an interest in content creation, amazing, be creative, showcase that to us. But it's really the person that we're hiring. We're not hiring the video, we're hiring the person behind the video and the content of you and your serious character. So that's really what we want. We want to see at the end of the day is why you think you're best suited to the program. So don't let the video throw you off. As I mentioned, there's loads of different hints and tips there on our YouTube channel, and of course on our social pages as well, our Instagram and our Twitter and our Facebook. So yeah, for me, it was very, I was delighted, but thankfully I was kind of, so my mother was there to be like, make sure you focus on the written application, because that is what they will read first. And thankfully I did put effort into the written application, because again, as Jill said, it's like the book and the movie, they see that first before watching the video. So I think we might pop on to the Q&A now. Guys, we've some questions, some great questions in there. So if you do have any more questions, do you want to just send them in? And you can see there on the right some like questions. So will I move on to the first question? Great, so the first question, sorry, I'm trying to see, my screen is tiny at the moment. So the first question here is, hey, thanks so much for doing this. I'm finding all the information online so helpful. I just want to check about the formality of the video. I'm 90% finished the video and I'm a bit stuck on how formal it should be, trying to get my personality across, but don't want to seem like I am joking. Paula, how do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I was just about to say, can I take this one?
Yeah, no, great. I'll give them all to you if you want.
No, it's just because I remember being like, okay, I literally, I think I brought changes of clothes in the car with me. I was like changing top when I was going to different locations. I went from like college to like a different location. I was trying to figure out, like trying to make it look different. So I was going around to all different locations. I'm pretty sure if you see my video, there's one of me and I'm on monkey bars and I'm talking as I'm coming down the monkey bars. So like, I think if you get that right balance of if what you're saying is decent and you're getting your points across, there's no harm in like mixing up a bit of personality to show that you don't take yourself too seriously with the serious stuff. Would you agree, Podge?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it is a professional team that are screening the applications, of course, but they're also well aware that, we're looking for that serious character. So, don't do anything ridiculous or illegal or anything as such in the video. But it's good to showcase that kind of personality, the human that you have in it, while obviously talking about why you think you're best suited to the program and where you can add value. but definitely have a bit of fun with it too. You know, we love to see that when we talk about what that serious character is, it's that someone who's creative, innovative, a self-starter, but can also doesn't take themselves too seriously and can have a bit of fun along the way. So that's kind of what we want in your video. I know it can be a bit daunting because you're kind of worried, like, is this okay? Will they think I'm not suited? But no, we want you to have a bit of fun in the video. And I think if you look through other videos on YouTube, you'll see that kind of playfulness come out too. So don't overthink it too much. Just make sure you showcase that serious character, I guess.
Great. Will I take the next question, Podge? I see you's in there.
Yep.
So there's a question in from Erica. So she said, could you go over timing of interview process and when you find out about each step? So I know I went over it there a few minutes ago, but I'll reiterate it again. So applications close 1 p.m. 24th of February. As I said, assessment centre dates are to be confirmed, but we hope to have assessment centre round 1 at the end of March, assessment centre round 2 at the beginning of April. Then you'll find out if you have been successful or not by the end of June. Induction will start mid-August. And then hopefully go to market in September. So I hope that is all clear, but if you have any additional questions on that, please pop them up in the Q&A box.
Thanks a million, Jill. I'm wondering if I might keep you there for the next question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just could you speak about the psychometric test and any tips you have for what you look for here?
Yeah, so as I said, we're still finalising the assessment centres and exactly what they look like, but we usually do use psychometric testing, and this is it's based on personality profiling and seeing if people fit into or fit into the serious character that we're looking for. So the tip that I would give you in the psychometric test would just be yourself, because that's what we're trying to gauge in that. You're on mute there, Podge. Yeah.
The most used sentence of 2020. Thanks a million, Jill. One of the next questions that we have here is, if successful getting the program, what is the process of placing you in your international market, I guess? Are you involved in choosing where you go? So in terms of your placement, you don't have a say in where you go in your year 1 of the program. For your year 2 and 3, you do have a preference, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you will get based there either. The team home here and the graduate team will place you where they think you will suit most based on your attributes and the requirements of the market. So that's one thing that's often people often don't realise, is that every market is very, very different. And Paula and Jill will agree when we hear that all the brand ambassadors are very different in their own right, which is fantastic. A mixed bag of cats. We're with that serious with that serious character, but every market's very different and the requirements for each market is very different. So certain markets might be very brand education focused, other markets might be brand activation. So the team will base you where they think you will suit the most and where they think you can add the most value to the brand. So you don't have a preference, and before your year 2 and year 3 you do. But also by your year 2 and year 3, you have more insight of the requirements of each market too. So you know where you would suit best as well.
Sorry, Podge, can I just add something there just for a second?
You can.
Just because like that could be a little daunting as well, and you're kind of like, oh my God, they can send me anywhere. But number one, it's exciting, and as well, like from the assessment centres, like the team actually get to know you so well, and they told us that at the start, and I was like, really though, like you only get to know, like, you know, you only speak to us maybe for like 5 minutes over there, but they do, trust me. When I would have never have picked Jakarta, Indonesia at all, and it's really worked out. So, and like when you think of all the brand ambassadors, Podge, that are in our year and stuff that got sent to places, you're kind of like, yeah, actually, I wouldn't have thought that, but yeah, they work and they love it. So they really, really do get to know you and fit you best to the market.
And again, going back to that serious character piece, like we want people who are willing to step outside of their comfort zone.
Exactly.
And like, Paula, how have you been finding Jakarta? What has been?
Jakarta's mental. I'd never been to Asia, so when I landed in Jakarta, it was like definitely a culture shock. But no, I love it. It's busy, it's exciting. There's loads of people, and obviously our role has changed quite a bit over here. So yeah, like it's a stage 1 kind of market, so the brand is quite young, shall we say. Like it really it's an exciting time to be over here because the momentum is growing and people are really getting to know and love the brand. But education and getting out to meet people face to face is really number 1 priority for us over here. So obviously with COVID, that has stopped. So we've had to kind of move everything online, but as well just keeping that engagement going with our bartenders through like online cocktail competitions or online trainings. So once COVID hit, we kind of got together and did like an online training video, and we've been kind of doing trainings over Zooms and stuff. So yeah, we've moved everything online, and education and kind of brand awareness is key over here.
I'm actually just going to keep you there, Paula, because there is one question that asks, how does being a serious character, just again to reiterate, you're not a serious character, we're looking for those with serious character. So serious character for us is a personality trait as opposed to a particular person, but how does having serious character play into your day-to-day role, Paula?
Yeah, I saw that come in. It's a really good question. I think, like what Podge said earlier, like kind of describing a serious character, I think to get placed in some places like this, to say Jakarta, Indonesia, or just like places that the culture is totally different, you don't speak the language, the food is totally different, all that kind of stuff. And this is just from a personal point of view. They want someone that is like adaptable, that's friendly, that's approachable, that can mingle, that can get in there, not afraid to step outside their comfort zone, meet new people, because you can imagine, like, I go into bars and I have to go up, well, pre-COVID times, don't approach strangers anymore without a mask on. No, but so yeah, go up, chat to customers. You might go up to them, they might have very limited English, but you just kind of make it work with your few words of Bahasa, and yeah, to just kind of get stuck in and not be afraid of the challenge, I guess.
Great, thanks a million, Paula. Jill, the next question, with lockdown and the current circumstances, do you expect any travel location restrictions within the graduate program, and how has it affected current brand ambassadors?
Yeah, so good question. I suppose it's on a lot of people's minds. So we are recruiting as normal at the moment. We're recruiting about 10 to 15 brand ambassadors this year. The timeline is induction will be in mid-August, and then hope to send brand ambassadors out to market in September. Obviously, you know, it's so hard to tell where we'll be next week, let alone in September. So, but that is the ambition. But obviously, you know, it will depend on the restrictions at that point in time. What I will say is, like, every market is so different at the moment. As you can see, we have Paula calling in from Jakarta, from Indonesia, and maybe I'll let Paula take just the last part of that question. So how has it affected your year and your job?
So affected, it's kind of similar to what I said there a few minutes ago. Just basically when everything hit and went into lockdown, it was basically our total lifeline of our job kind of was just cut overnight. So we really just had to go back to the drawing board with our manager and just figure out how to deliver our main key points, which is like brand education, engagement with bartenders, engagement with customers. How are we going to keep those kind of lines of communication open, but just online? And like I said, we went about like doing up a training video. So myself and, sorry, I should have mentioned him, my partner in crime, the other brand ambassador here in Indonesia, Kieran. So the two of us, so we're really lucky. We put our heads together and we came up with a training video. So we fully like recorded that with a videographer with Bahasa subtitles. Bahasa is the language over here in Jakarta. And we just did trainings over Zoom. We did that for a good few months. We did like online promotions with different bar groups. We sent some bottles and some merchandise to influencers, got them to do cocktail classes on their Instagram, stuff like that, just to keep that engagement and to keep the brand front of mind, not just with our own local team here, but with the wider population, like customers, bartenders. And then in terms of, yeah, like how does it change my year? To be honest, it was fine. It didn't change much in terms of personal, but definitely had to go to the drawing board with the job. Oh,
thanks a million. I could have stopped doing that. Thanks a million, Paula. There's another question here in terms of, is it a problem to have a driver's license that is not Irish? No, if not, it doesn't have to be a fully clean Irish driver's license. It just has to be a fully clean driver's license. But there's also questions in terms of not having the driver's license by March with COVID. Jill, do you want to take that?
Yeah, of course. So, unfortunately, you know, we're very aware of the circumstances at the moment and how some people are finding it, you know, difficult, or that they can't have classes or go or do their test. But it is a business requirement that we have the driver's license by the end of March. So I hope that that answers your question.
Again, guys, just if there is any uncertainty around questions, or if you have any more kind of in-depth questions, by all means, you can reach out to us via our social channels or our website, or of course our email as well. So don't feel that if your question doesn't get answered, we won't answer it. Please do get in touch with us and we'll get back to you straight away. There's a question here: how does an undergrad fresh out of college compete and stand out against someone who has had a year or two out of college and has a chance to build onto their work skill set and their serious character? Which is a great question. Mm-hmm. I think it can often be kind of daunting for people who are just out of college, especially when they're up against those like myself and Paula, who waited a couple of years before getting the experience.
Yeah, all ones on the program.
But one thing is you can draw experience from anything. I know for myself, a lot of when I applied for the graduate program, majority of the things I spoke about were actually attributes and skill sets that I got from college and from being a part of the society and different events. And of course from my course too. I mean, I know it can be daunting, but in the graduate program we do teach you everything you need to know to be a brand ambassador, and we fully prepare you for when you're sent out to your market to represent Jameson. So that's taught for you for the induction, the first couple of weeks of induction. So again, back to the point of we're looking for those who suit the brand and who fit the brand with that serious character. So don't let that turn you off. I know it can be a bit scary, especially when you're seeing other people's applications and you think I haven't done enough. If you think you're best suited to the program, if you think you do have experience that will help you in the role or you could add value to the graduate program, then by all means do apply. And showcase that serious character. So we have people in the program. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is a good friend of ours, Paula, who was just out of college, done a communications degree, same as me, which is a 3-year degree as well. But she's on the program because she had that serious character and she had plenty of experience from college, from being involved in different societies, both in and outside of college. And she is now a Dublin brand ambassador. So don't let that turn you off at all. Just make sure you get your serious character across, your personality, and why you're best suited to the role. We have another question here. Did it take you long to find your feet in your new role market? So Paula, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I think we got out to market, I think it was September 2019, and I was heading home at Christmas, and I thought I'd found my feet a little bit, but you still are kind of like, am I doing this right? Is this actually what I'm supposed to be doing? But then you go home at Christmas and you meet up with all the other brand ambassadors at our Global Ambassador Summit, and you kind of just get pumped and motivated and chatting to them about different ideas and stuff like that. And you really go back out to market feeling confident. I think like the first month or so is definitely when you're in a country that the culture is just totally different and you're trying to find a place to live and stuff like that and find your feet, and everyone over here, your local team and stuff, are so supportive with all of that, so they couldn't have been more helpful. So that was easy, but again, it's just to get your head around it. It takes a couple of months and then the job kind of starts to fall into place once you have all those things in tow. But Podge, how did you find finding your feet in your role, say, because it's a bit different? Oh, you're on mute.
I gotta stop doing that. I did. Clearly, I'm still finding my feet in my new role, but I think for me, my role is different. I suppose, to kind of sum it up, I'm a brand ambassador for the graduate program itself. But yeah, I mean, it's great. You're part of a team that are really supportive, really encouraging, and I was delighted being based in the Dublin office too, because I really got to know the brand. And I'm home, and so many of the international marketing team, actually so many people in IDL in the marketing department, have come through the graduate program, which is incredible. So you see, I guess the how highly respected the graduate program is, certainly in our own company. So it was great to get that, great to have the support from other past graduates and current graduates who were in the office with me too. So yeah, it's been really fun. Like everyone, it's changed dramatically over the last couple of months, like everything has. But it's just about adapting and finding new ways to stay engaged and keeping it fun. So yeah, no, absolutely love it. There is, oh, I think my roommate must be angry.
There's a nice a question in there from Brendan there, Podge. So he says, hi, will the online assessment centre be held over Microsoft Teams? Also, any tips for showing creativity through an online presentation? So as I mentioned, we are still finalising assessment centres. So it's still TBC what platform we'll be using, but it will be obviously online. And then any tips for showing creativity through an online presentation. So we had Assessment Centre Round 2 online last year, and even though it was online, like, we really saw creativity from candidates shining through. We saw some people were doing, one person did a break dance. I had one candidate that did theirs on potatoes and had loads of different types of, like, mashed and boiled potatoes, had different props. Then even if you think about your backdrop, how you can make that creative. So I think it's really about, like, thinking outside the box and finding a way to kind of showcase your personality through the presentation. So yeah, it's about, you just have to be extra creative, I think.
Yeah, well put. We have a question there. If you have a postgraduate degree, are you eligible, or strictly for undergraduates? And there is also another question further above about how many years before you can apply, or how many years after you can apply. There is no graduation strict date in terms of when you can apply. As myself and Paula mentioned, we applied a few years after we graduated, and there's people who waited longer. There's no strict date or age restriction either, if that's something that you might be worried too. And in terms of the undergraduate degree, you can have a postgraduate and undergraduate degree too. It's not strictly for undergraduates. So I hope you do apply. Any tips for someone who applied last year to keep their application interesting and not negative? Is it okay to include similar things? Yeah, great question. It definitely is okay to include similar things. One thing I would mention, if you're applying from last year, is it's always great to mention what has happened in that year and how you've learned or what you've done. Definitely don't be negative. It's always great to have a positive outlook on things. And of course, don't worry, it is okay to mention other things. Gillian, do you agree there?
Yeah, definitely. I think, just think back on the past year and, what you've learned or what skills you've gained. But if still some of your biggest achievements are the ones that you submitted last year, that's absolutely perfect. It's not like you're marked down. So yeah, I think just think about, like, yeah, I think what you've learned in the past year, and if that's relevant, then of course include that.
Perfect. Jill, I might just keep you there if that's okay. In terms of, one question is, thank you for all the informative events and support so far. Just have a question regarding the written section of the application. The employment history and skill set have no word limit, so just wondering how much is too much.
I think this is kind of like, if you think so if you put yourself in the screener's position and think about, like, what they want to see, and just get your key points across. like, I think making something as clear and concise as possible is always the best way to do things. So yeah, just looking at like our requirements, at the skill set, that our desired skill set, and then just matching whatever your relevant skill set is to that.
Thanks, Imogen. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then I think we might wrap it up. So one question just quickly is, do you have to pass round 1 to get to round 2? Yes, you do. Definitely right now though, as for all you listening, I would certainly be focusing on your written and video application and just making sure you have them down and you're happy with them before submitting. And then of course you can worry about round 1 and round 2. We have a question from Anonymous. I have 3 penalty points from a few years ago. Will this affect me? Should I wait until they are clear? Yes. Again, as mentioned, one of the key requirements for the graduate program is a fully clean driver's license. So unfortunately, if you do points on your driver's license, you wouldn't be accepted onto the program. Sorry, I feel weird going too close to the camera, as if I'm like, you know, like my dad trying to read something. Is there any particular skill? Is there any skills in particular that stand out to you when they're included in an application, Jill?
I think it comes back to, you know, we're looking for candidates with serious character. So we're looking for candidates that are creative, innovative, and real self-starters. So it's about showcasing that, I would say, is the most important.
Great. There is. So to finish up, we have one question that is a 1-year program or 3 years, just to confirm that it's an initial 13-month contract, the first month of which is a training and development program up at Dublin, where we teach you everything you need to know. In the following 12 months of that, you are a brand ambassador based in your international market. There is then an opportunity for a further 12 to 24-month contract, and this is performance dependent and market availability too. And finally, just a bit of a fun question, Paula, for myself and yourself, is what has been the highlight of your job so far, if you have one, or too many to pick from? So I'm going to start with yourself.
Oh God, that's hard. I think for me, it's number 1, the people I've met, both like you, Podge, and Gillian, and the team, the wider team, and all the brand ambassadors, but also the people I've met over here. It's just been incredible. And then, yeah, I think just I've got to travel a good bit, which is nice. I'm in a lovely part of the world, so I think that's been a highlight for me too. So yeah, probably the people and the bit of travel.
And I think for myself, there definitely were 2 highlights. One of which, as you mentioned, of course, it's meeting the team and my incredible team that I work with on a day-to-day basis. But as well as that, GAS, our Global Ambassador Summit that we hold every year, we've had 2, and this year we had to adapt it to a virtual setting. And I think there's always that kind of uncertainty in terms of doing an online event and how it will come across, and will the spirit of what GAS is, which is bringing everyone together, still be there? And it most definitely was. So that was definitely certainly a recent highlight, because we got all the brand ambassadors from 33 different venues, I guess, around the world, all logged on, coming together and engaging with and interacting with each other. So that was definitely great. I think finally, as I mentioned, we do have the podcast, the Jameson Graduate Programme podcast, which is something I got to host. And for me, it's something that I do on my spare time outside of work, is a podcast. So it was really, really cool. And something that's really great about the program is being able to kind of intertwine your own, I guess, hobbies and your own interest into the job, and they're very encouraging. One question actually in there was about this top, was it a Lord of the Rings design, but it wasn't. But just on that point that I'm making, is our brand ambassador over in Poland, David O'Boyle, had a really cool campaign where he created some bespoke Jameson t-shirts, and that's a huge passion of his as well, and creating, and he got to bring that to life within the job. So that's one of the really, really cool, one of the very many cool things that the job allows you to do. So guys, if we haven't answered your question, by all means, as I mentioned earlier on, please do get in touch. Oh, you're after leaving me there now. Where am I gone? I'm still not perfect with the technology. But if you do have any questions, by all means, you can reach out to us on our social channels, which is Jameson Graduate Programme, on our website, jamesongraduateprogramme.com. And I will again direct you to our podcast, which is Jameson Graduate Programme podcast, which you can find on all streaming services or in the link in the bio of all our social handles. Finally, one more just reminder that the applications for this year's graduate program, Jameson International Graduate Programme, close 1 p.m. the 24th of February at 1 p.m. So please do make sure to get in your application there as soon as possible, and don't leave it to the last minute. I want to thank Paula and Jill for joining me today, and
thanks, Podge.
Yeah, thank you, Podge, and thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck, guys. Enjoy
yes.
it.
It's a very fun experience. So guys, again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, and this session will be sent out to you and will be on our YouTube channel too. So if you missed anything, don't worry. Other than that, best of luck with your application, and hopefully we'll be seeing some of you soon. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.